Hey, community groups, welcome. We started a brand new series this week called Sins We Accept, and we talked about the sin that we accept called ungodliness. And I want to kind of share a story with you. It's a personal story that's happened to me whenever I was in college. Now, I was enrolled in, first of all, I was a Bible studies student, and I love my classes. And I was enrolled in a class that I was really excited about. It ended up being a really good class, a lot of great content, a lot of really good kind of practical knowledge that I could apply into my Bible studies and learning to translate that into sermons or conversations and things like that, right? And I was really excited about it, but this class actually, to be really honest, really bummed me out towards the beginning of the semester. It didn't have anything to do with the content. It didn't have to do anything with the practical application, but I was bummed out because one assignment that we had just kind of ruined it for me for a little bit. You see, like the class was given this assignment, and I have this desire to be a good student. I wasn't always a good student, but it kind of caught up with me eventually, and I wanted to really be a good student. So I was already in the practice and the habit of doing things what I feel like was right. And in this particular case, I knew this assignment was big. I wanted to be a good student. I had my bar set pretty high, and so I set out to produce some really good work, and I wanted this assignment to reflect that. And so, knowing that it was a big paper and it was going to take some time, I got to work immediately. And I went straight into the research and I started gathering books. I had more than enough of the sources that were required. I ended up writing more pages than were required. I went deep into study on the original language. I was doing deep history and cultural context and all of this really good stuff. So I felt really good about my work. I was confident that I was going to have an A on this paper, and I was confident about that right up until the point that my professor handed me back my paper and I saw a big red F on the top. Now, you can imagine there was a little frustration. Like I said, I was bummed out, and I sat there kind of stewing, honestly, just kind of heated about it at the beginning of class. Now I have this 2.5-hour long class I got to sit through before I could talk with my professor about this. So I'm sitting there, I'm frustrated, and finally, whenever the opportunity comes up, I go to him and I just said, I think there's some kind of misunderstanding. What happened here? And he said to me, well, did you read the notes that I wrote on the back of your paper? Now, because I was so frustrated, I didn't. And he pointed out to me at that point that even though my research was great, even though my writing was pretty good, even though all of my resources were good resources, the work that I produced was really good. The biggest issue was that I had just answered the wrong question. So he wasn't able to give me a passing grade because I failed to do what the assignment tasked us with. Right? I'd answered the wrong question, and consequently, I missed the point and the purpose of the entire assignment. And so even though I'd given so much of my time and my attention to these goals, I had missed the assignment completely. And in this sermon, we were able to work through James chapter 4, verses 13 through 17, and he highlights a pretty similar tension. You see, what James does in that, along the same lines, is he shows us that in our desire, oftentimes, in our desire to live a good and fulfilled and experienced life, we often leave God out of the planning process completely. It's like we are actually, literally ungodding God from our plans, removing him from the equation. We literally ungod our lives. And even with all that effort and with all that work and with all that travel and with all that experience, and as he talks about even all that profit that we're able to gain from our lives, we make our lives into worthless results. And the text goes so far as to even say that they're evil. It's a feeling, again, that we've just missed the assignment completely. Now, the issue that I think that this really shows us is that ungodliness is not something that we are so prone to see in ourselves. In fact, I think the way that James really lays that out is he's exposing a blind spot for us. And by nature, you can't see blind spots. You need somebody else to expose them for you. But you see, like we were able to talk about this week, it's not even so much that making plans for our lives are a problem. The problem is godless plans. And as we were able to work through these points, we found that godless plans result in godless pleasure. Godless plans result in godless rewards. and godless plans reveal human arrogance. And so as you step into these community groups and you ask these questions, I would just ask you to open yourselves up to have your blind spots revealed. And not just to be revealed and exposed so that you feel sensitive or feel vulnerable before people, but allow that to be the catalyst for growth in you so that you would not indulge in the unrighteous behavior that our culture seems to celebrate. Look to God to direct your steps. And as a community group, you can step into a place of accountability where you help each other along that path in the process. Now, as you know, for community groups, we are committed to three things. We are committed to fighting sin together. We are committed to fighting for each other, and we are committed to fighting for truth. And as we do those things, we can expect discipleship to occur. I believe that God has wanted to fashion you more and more into his image in this group. And so I want you to know that I'm encouraged by you. I know that these sorts of conversations, especially a series called The Sins We Accept, can be a really, really kind of scary thing. But man, sometimes it's just getting that exposure that's going to correct the path, and so we won't miss the assignment to begin with. Community groups, you guys be blessed. We're praying for you all the time. We'll see you guys next week.